From Axios Chicago, Broadview ICE protests grow despite fence and gas, and apparently it is ongoing. Now, the crazy thing about this is that we've got these videos. The first thing I want to play for you, and earmuffs for the kids. This may be a bit vulgar, but I think the context is important. It's from Blaze Media. This is in the early stages of the protest. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you heard that already. Now, that's important context when you begin to look at where we're going from there with this video from BG on the scene. So for those that are just listening, you have a crowd of people blocking and obstructing an ICE vehicle. Savannah Hernandez tweets, "It's a serious failure on behalf of the Trump administration, and the fact that ICE vehicles are still being mobbed and nothing is being done about it is quite frankly embarrassing. ICE agents were just shot at and almost killed, and the admin continues to allow this." We have this video from Nick Sorter. This is a Fox News report.
Just a second, but we want to go back to the protests at the Broadview ICE facility in Illinois that Mike Tobin was reporting on all morning. You've got some breaking news on that.
Yeah, we have about 200 protesters there on the ground. We actually had our law enforcement just confiscate a firearm from one of these protesters, or really rioters are what they are, as they're obstructing law enforcement vehicles from being able to enter that facility. And John, this is just 2 days after we saw that vicious, disgusting attack on our law enforcement facility down in Dallas, where one detainee was killed and two are currently in serious condition. And that psychopath opened fire indiscriminately on our ICE law enforcement, on the facility and on the van. And the fact that there is now a firearm, or there was a firearm there in Chicago, is very alarming.
I think people need to understand as well, the vehicles in the ICE terror attack were not buses. They were white vans, is my understanding. And so the individual who fired on them did not know. It seems that they were detainee transport. And it seems that they were just shooting on ICE vehicles thinking they were targeting law enforcement, ended up hitting these detainees. We're at a rock and a hard place. Can we really say that this is a protest? We are well past the point where we can tolerate people wearing masks, bringing weapons, and physically attacking law enforcement vehicles when we are dealing with this degree of terrorism. So perhaps 5-10 years ago, we could tolerate that this is not free speech.
No.
It's a riot, but do we want to escalate by arresting? And the cops often would say, let's just push through it. But now that it's gotten to the level where we've had, I think, 3 terror attacks on ICE facilities in 3 months, this is no longer a matter of free speech. Technically, 10 years ago, this is still illegal. You want to protest, you want to hold signs outside the facility, that's free speech. When you start physically attacking their vehicles to any degree after these terror attacks happen, I got to say, to Sav's point, why isn't the Trump admin just saying, lock them up?
I agree. I wholeheartedly think these people should be locked up. They are obstructing these officials and doing their work. And when you're tampering with people who are doing carrying out missions like this, like, you really are getting involved in something that's very dangerous. They're trying to arrest somebody in general is a really precarious situation. Having someone hurling insults and getting very close to you with phones, trying to divulge your identity, is not what those men signed up for. ICE agents, law enforcement officials, they deserve to go home and to be safe. They are law-abiding citizens. Why are we not on the side of our law-abiding citizens who are doing their job, trying to protect our country? I don't understand.
So, to your point, Tim, like, the fact that this has been going on for a decade or more is actually why we've gotten to the point where there are actual murders, happening at ICE facilities. These types of behaviors need to be shut down as soon as they happen. So that way, people like the people that are amassed outside of this particular facility don't think that they can get away with saying things like arrest ICE, shoot ICE, etc. They should all get arrested. Like, anyone out there, they should go and get the local law enforcement should come, and they should wrap them all up, and they should all get charged. I don't know what the charges exactly would be, but they should all get, inhibiting the lawful execution of law enforcement.
I mean, if you're touching them, then get them for assault on a law.
Every single law that they've broken, and it's all on video because they've got cameras. Every law they've broken, they should be prosecuted for.
I agree.
And this should be that should happen at every ICE facility, everywhere across the country.
It should be such a notice put out that people are like, you know what, it's not worth the risk. And they're meetings, they meet before they do this. They don't just pop up. They had a strategy meeting and they decided that this was worth the risk. You know why they said it was worth the risk? Because Pritzker told them.
Yeah.
And Brandon Johnson told them, we are going to push back. They're literally, when Pritzker did that speech and said conservatives should know no peace, he laid the groundwork for what happened. Oh God, pull up the speech. He literally said they should. He said
Pritzker said that?
He said they should know no peace. He said it in a speech. I think he was on the East Coast when he said it, and it enraged Illinoisans because it was basically like a kind of like putting out a war message.
Well, it's April. The Republicans cannot know a moment of peace.
That laid the groundwork for what we saw happen to Charlie Kirk. He went on a tour telling people to wage war against conservatives and Republicans.
Yeah. I've been saying this for the past couple of days. If there are any politicians out there, whether they be state level or they be federal level, if you truly believe that that it is time for the temperature to come down in the United States, what you need to do is get out in front of a camera somewhere and say, we need people to allow ICE to do their job.
Yes.
That is a simple, basic, easy to do, low bar, real easy kind of thing to ask for. And it's every single person that's an elected official should say, we want law enforcement to be able to safely do their job. And if you can't do that, then you don't actually want de-escalation. You want more escalation. You want more violence.
Mobilization for disruption. But I am now.
I'm gonna start it over.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
It was evil.
Whoops. Just real quick.
For
I'm wondering why not a single Republican has said anything like that. Ever.
Never.
disruption.
No, we don't wage war.
But I am now.
I mean, I was into mass non-compliance during the COVID mandates.
Yeah.
I said I would.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
He's forgetting one part of that quote. When he said the soapbox and the ballot box, there's an implied statement because the rest of that poem is, or phrase, or whatever you want to call it. Do you know what it is, Ian?
No. I've heard it before, though.
It's you castigate them at the soapbox, you beat them at the ballot box, or you load the cartridge box.
Oh.
Right.
But he even goes on to say, basically risk life and limb. Like, this speech was really toxic. It was really bad.
So tonight, I'm telling you what I'm willing to do, and that's fight for our democracy, for our liberty, for the opportunity for all of our people to live lives that are meaningful and free. And I see around me tonight a room full of people who are ready to do the same. So I have one question for all of you, Granite Staters. Are you ready for the fight?
So in the right place.
The 4 boxes of liberty, it's called.
Yeah.
And it's the soap box, the ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box.
Wow.
That's
what they're calling for him to be impeached right now in whatever it's called in Illinois.
Will he go to prison like the rest of the governors?
He needs to. I mean, it's like a rite of passage in Illinois. If you serve in office, you end up going to prison for a
You're
long time.
not really a governor if you don't go to prison.
You got to go spend some
Are
time.
you really a hometown, local, born and bred if you don't go to prison after
you need
serving
to
office?
go. I mean,
You at least have to be indicted, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, he needs to. He laid the groundwork for a lot of this violence. He gave people permission to be as violent, to lean into their violent delights, and he made it where it went from people debating to now they're like, you know what? I don't care if I get hit by a car. I don't care if I have to.
All of the proper responses to that kind of rhetoric are TOS violations.
This is actually crazy. Let me read. I think many people are familiar with the 4 boxes of liberty.
Yeah.
Wikipedia says the soapbox represents exercising one's right to freedom of speech, to influence politics, to defend liberty. The ballot box represents exercising one's right to vote, to elect a government, to defend liberty. The jury box represents jury nullification, to refuse to convict someone being prosecuted for breaking an unjust law that decreases liberty. And the cartridge box represents exercising one's right to keep and bear arms to oppose, in armed conflict, a tyrannical government. The 4 boxes represent increasingly forceful methods of political action. We've already seen all of them.
Yeah.
They have marched to the streets. They have voted. They lost the speech issue to the culture. They have lost the voting issue. Now what are we seeing? They're not prosecuting the criminals. They're letting them go.
Yes.
And we've seen them shoot and kill.
Yeah.
More than one person.
I love the jury nullification opportunity. I'd like to see it imposed more righteously once in a while in the United States. But the Pritzker saying fight, I mean, that rhetoric is very
Dangerous.
yes.
Have you even noticed how
fight-
Bernie
I don't mind the word fight.
Because
fight
it means
is
like two
so-
kids fighting in their living room, you know, like two
Fight is-
brothers. You're arguing, you're pushing.
It is so benign compared to the other things that they've said. Like fight, you can fight in an argument is a fight. When you get into an argument with your significant other, you say, "Well, I got into a fight with my girlfriend." Right? You didn't beat her up. You got into a fight with her, and people understand that. But there are other things that he said that are far more egregious than fight. Fight is the very basic bottom of the barrel kind of thing. He said that's inconsequential. Honestly,
I think it's lazy though, because like you get into a firefight, you know, like troops can get into
yeah,
a
but
firefight.
it's a
Well,
gunfight
he
is
left it
different
open
than an
to
argument.
interpretation on purpose, though, because for a person who's toxic in the mind, a person who's mentally unhealthy, when they hear fight, they're like, you know what? We've talked about it long enough, like you said. So what are they going to think about, you know, when it comes to that?
Yeah, but Trump said you got to fight like hell. You know, and they claimed that was insurrection for January 6th. The word fight is typical political rhetoric for decades, even in times of peace. So I try to be careful with that one. The bigger concern is when he starts invoking the boxes of liberty.
Yeah.
Because the implied statement there is, if this does not work, you know what I'm asking you to do.
And to be honest with you, in New Hampshire, that kind of rhetoric it's far more impactful in a place like New Hampshire, because New Hampshire takes their liberty very seriously. The people that he was actually talking to understood that in a different way than, say, the people of California would.
Well, there was that dude who threatened to kill the governor, right?
Yes.
Was working on making bombs or whatever in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So I do think it's fair to say the rhetoric does need to be toned down across the board. I don't care. I'm not going to play any partisan games. But the problem is, seemingly the right has no problem with doing it. Like, I've made videos where I said, I don't care if you're on the left or on the right. Everybody should tone it down. We don't want violence. Cooler heads must prevail. And then you look at what the left is saying, and they're escalating.
They're deranged.
You said at the
They've
top
lost it.
at the top of the segment that it's a rock and a hard place, and I think it is, because what from that other perspective, like, why are they aggressively getting in the way of? Why are they beating on cars of ICE? People in those cities often and sometimes think that my friends are now being taken away from me, and they may be here legally for 7 years, but they're my friends.
No, bro.
What other choice do I have?
No, they don't know these people.
Sometimes
There's
the real people who are
a really great example is is Ben Bankus, right? That's the comedian we had on. Yeah. I was watching one of his Instagram clips, and he was doing a bit about ICE, and a heckler yells, the U.S. citizens are getting deported. He's only deported citizens. And then Ben is like, what citizen? And they're like, the guy from Maryland.
The Maryland man?
And he says that was a green card holder with a bunch of crimes. And they're like, no, he did nothing wrong. Petty offenses.
Did you see that guy actually had a record for he got detained or pulled over by an officer, and he was actually trafficking other men?
He got criminally charged for human smuggling.
He was tracking.
The point is, these people that you're talking about, Ian, have no idea what's going on. No. They don't look into it. And that's why you can have an individual like you or me with certain like liberal economic views, but we'll be called right wing because we know the truth. Because we say things like, "Oh, that guy was from El Salvador and was caught smuggling humans." They go, "You're lying. You're right wing."
I've been trying to wiggle out of this hard place that The Rock is pushing against, and I'm thinking, like, what if the government stops targeting anyone that's been here for 12 years and can speak fluent English?
Nope.
Like, because if they're really integral part of the community and they're well understood,
just because they can speak English and they've been here for a long time doesn't mean they're an integral.
A lot of people,
most
people in the world are almost bilingual. It's just an American thing to only be mono.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.